Name me somebody who's so obsessed with what they do that they not only win, they dominate. That's Ahmad Majed. Name me somebody who not only has taken one team, two teams, three teams at tier 1 in soccer sports and lead them all to the championship. That's Ahmad Majed. Name me somebody who, at the age of 13 years old, played soccer growing up in Lebanon and still took the risk of playing only to go back home on their bike to hear gunshots in the corner of what was happening during the Civil War. That's Ahmad Majed. Name me somebody who all their life embodied the key characteristics, the personality, that driving mindset to be a coach. That's Ahmad Majed. Ladies and gentlemen, this man that we're about to introduce to you today and have a conversation with is somebody who relentlessly doesn't stop until, as a team and as a coach, gets the job done and does it so beautifully and does it in a fashion where he not only respects the players, he respects the parents, and he respects himself. He has led some of his teams all the way to Spain and has become a soccer director for multiple different teams across the city. It's actually so many that I actually need to pick up my phone right now and address which teams that Ahmad has addressed, because it's a lot. Number 1, Horse Hill Community, soccer director. Number 2, Northside United FC, soccer director. Number 3, Soccer Elite Academy, which, hey, fun fact, when COVID hit and Ahmad knew that he could no longer be a coach for some of these kids face-to-face, he created an online company. He created an online program for free for children around the world to still learn certain key practices on how to be an effective soccer player, to still be ready for the next season. This picked up so much traction that Global Edmonton scooped him right up and gave him the attention he deserved. As well, Superior Squad Canada. Ahmad is not only involved in getting these kids to the championship, he looks at and scouts certain individuals who actually want to look into professionally playing soccer to gear them up to go play in Europe. So with his connections, with his love and respect for the sport and for his charisma, he not only thinks about being there for the kids now, but paving the way for them to play the sport that they know and love. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Ahmad Majed. This is Kenny Buller on the Second Floor Podcast, and you know how we do it. For those of you who've been listening, thank you for always being around. For those of you who are new to this, we talk about how to survive, how to thrive, and keep the good vibes going in life and business. Here we go. What's going on, guys? We're doing an official episode with Ahmad Majed.
Yep.
He is the Soccer Academy Director of Soccer Elite Academy.
That's right.
And you do run not only just one, but 4 teams in the city of Edmonton. You led every single one of them to the championship. With all that aside, I know we have so much to talk about today, Ahmad. I want to start off with asking you this. What is the definition of a coach to you? What does a coach mean?
A coach, it's somebody that really, it's more than just a game itself. You're not really coaching soccer. I think a coach, it's a mentor. It's someone, youth can look up to, where they have no answers to some of their questions, not just about the game itself. I mean, I've had many youth players come to me and ask me questions that don't even relate to soccer or the sport in itself. That's where a coach can play a big role in a youth player, especially even as they get more and more comfortable with you. Again, you could have a youth player that's played for 6 months with you, and then they grow and they're playing for 2 and 3 years. And I've had kids since they were like 5 years old. Their comfort level is really high. So that's when you truly get the definition of what a coach is. It's not just here I'm coaching you how to play the game, how to kick the ball, or how to pass the ball, or how to dribble. It's more than that, for sure. It's a mentor. It's you play a father figure to some kids that really honestly don't have that role model in their life. and more than that for sure.
I find that's a really important topic to address because there's obviously that element of feeling like you are of influence, especially to really young kids. You have kids yourself, and I'm sure you can imagine how much certain elements of your personality your team will replicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm wondering how you view, not only just in soccer, because I know we're going to dig deep into that, but generally for anyone who's a coach out there and they can learn from your abilities in leading a championship team, how much are you in the zone of realizing that, okay, I need to be Ahmad, I need to be myself, I need to be playful, or no, you know what, I have to be influencive, I have to be authoritative, I'm coach, and I can't cross that line. Like, what does that look like for you? Do you ever cross that line?
You do. You definitely do. And you hit a really good point. Your team will act exactly how you act. Absolutely. If I'm the coach that's always screaming at the referee, because they're making bad calls, guess what my players are going to do? They're going to be screaming at the referee when they get hit.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? So I have to play both roles. I cannot be too aggressive. We're still developing players, right? So this is the development phase of a lot of these youth players. Like I coach U11, U13, and believe it or not, even the U5s and U7s, that's how, like, we're talking 2015, 2014 right now. I mean, they're 4 and 5 years old.
Yeah.
So you change your element of coaching and your tone of coaching. And so when you get to the U13 tier 1 provincial level, there's that playful still there. You still want them to enjoy the game. I mean, that's why we all play game. That's why it's still called a game. It's still called a sport, because you truly want to enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
But the pressure element comes in. But you can't let your pressure, the pressure that you feel, relay down to your players. And it's I've done that before. We all grow. We're all been rookie coaches, and we grow and we become better coaches, good coaches, better coaches, and exceptional coaches, right? Yeah. And so through that growth, I think I learned that when I felt a lot of pressure early on, the team felt the players felt the pressure, and they were the better team. They just didn't play because they were playing under the pressure. So you got to really figure out, because these are still, like I said, they're youth players. I mean, even at 15 and 16 years old, I mean, they're still kids. What do they know? What did I know at 15 years old? Honestly, and not very much, thinking back. So you got to put yourself in their shoes too.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do really is honestly give them the knowledge that you didn't have, or I didn't have anyway. And that's what it's all about. Is how do we educate them and mature them earlier than what they would mature. Like you take a soccer player that's 13 years old, not even a soccer player, any sport athlete, if they're actually coached properly, not just about the game, but in life, they're a lot more mature than a person or a kid that's not coached, that's sitting in a room playing video games.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, you love sports, I love sports. I think sports plays a huge impact in a child's life.
Big time.
So
that's really neat, because when you say that, it goes to show the reality is when you're 15 years old, Ahmad, you said it, you don't know much. I mean, 5 years ago, you were a 10-year-old kid, right?
Yes.
And when you look at it like that, when you have a coach figure of influence who understands and sees and recognizes that something might have just happened, that you might have felt very emotionally unstable by, maybe it was losing, like maybe just you lost for the first time, or like you felt like you got a red flag, but you didn't deserve to get it. Something along those lines, that that kid, it happened to the first time for him.
Yeah.
Him or her won't forget that.
No.
You recognize it, and then you tell them, you know what, come here. And whether it's for the individual or the team, I find whatever you end up saying, they soak it up like a sponge.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I recall all the moments when coaches said certain things to me, and I live by those principles,
yes.
Even to your point, outside of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like outside of competition in general. And I wanted to know, like, if you have an example of when that happened with one player in particular on your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or with your entire team, and it was a defining moment for them or your team to ultimately just persevere through that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, we coach at a very high level. Like I coach at a very, very high. I expect nothing but the best. So I push the kids hard. not hard enough sometimes, you know. I really can take it to another level, and we are, you know, and it truly. And so when you actually push that hard, you expect results, and so defeats hurt, and winning is that much better, right? So I tell you the first time that we were losing, obviously every team was undefeated. Like we lost very little, you know, playing with these teams. And I remember the first time, you know, these are 8 years old. At 8 years old, this is a U9 team, you know. Again, never lost a game, always winning every single half, every single game. But at one half, we were losing 3-0. 3-0.
You'll feel 3-0.
So, but these are kids, you know, so they're not gonna come and act like professionals every single day and give you an output. Yeah. You know, they came and it was a later game. It wasn't in the right time. You know, something was going on at school, but it was a collective thing that happened. But we were down 3-0 to a team that really wanted to beat us. Right? And we destroyed this team. We don't just beat this team, we destroyed this team all the time. But they came with a really good plan, and they were doing really well.
They were executing it.
So at halftime, and that's where there's halftimes, right? And so at halftime, you know, I sat back and I said, okay, I want you to know something. You're facing something right now, okay? You're going to face that in life as well. This is a great opportunity for all of us to learn something today. From whether we win this game or lose this game, we're going to learn something. Can anyone tell me, what does adversity mean to you? Does anybody even know what that word even means? So they're 8 years old.
Very new word to them.
It's a new word. They obviously didn't know, right? But that was the perfect moment for me to coach what adversity is.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Right? So again, I explained to all of them what adversity. I didn't even talk soccer. I didn't talk about the game. Because I know they can play. You know, I know they can beat this team. They've beaten this team before. It wasn't because they weren't passing right, or it wasn't because they weren't shooting right. It was the other team wanted it more. So they were put pressure on them. So they were facing adversity. So we talked to them about it. I talked to them about it. I said, okay, now that you faced adversity, now the second term, I have 2 minutes to talk about this.
Yeah.
Is character. Now, your character, which one is it? Is it the one that's going to fold and crumble and just say adversity beat you? Because I explained adversity first. And just let it happen? Or are your character is the one that's going to say, I'm going to fight through this and I'm going to come back and I am going to battle this adversity and surpass it? Which one is it? Now, there's two things that play. You're facing adversity, but your character has a big role in how you act during this adversity.
Driving that adversity.
You got it. And so we talked about two things that they've really never experienced ever.
They're very new too.
Very new.
Yeah.
So, you know, they come out and they win the game 8-3. You know, so they score 8 goals. 8 goals. And they didn't get 1 goal scored against them.
After that pep talk.
After that. So they came out and they fought the adversity. They faced the adversity head on. And it was all their characters. They all had good characters, you know, to fight through, to push through. And I know their characters because I coach them every day. So I know how well they compete against each other.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was a big, big lesson, I think, for all of them. And honestly, to this day, we truly, you know, we're down a lot sometimes, you know, in games. And then, you know, the first thing they come back, and I'm telling you, like, there's some OGs on these teams, man. There's some kids that were been there since like they were 5 years old. And
that's awesome.
And, you know, they sit down at half and like, come on, guys, we're facing adversity.
Love it.
That's the first thing they say. They recognize it, and now their characters are going to act on it. Yeah. So two things that, you know, in life later on, when they walk into an interview and they don't get the job.
Yeah.
You know, they want the job. That's an adversity.
It's crazy you say that, because when you were talking about that, I couldn't help but think about the relations to a job interview, because I've been asked it in an interview where they say, tell me about a time where you've overcame adversity and how'd you do it?
Yeah.
Not saying that, let's say, oh, when I was 8 years old, I overcame it. Not in that sense, but now because if I go back to the time at 8 years old, if I was on your team and I learned the raw definition of it, I will know exactly how to execute that answer.
For sure.
In any sense. And here's the crazy thing about what you said. Anybody else could say, oh, you know what, in a team huddle, if my kids are losing 3-0, I'm gonna figure out a game plan. I'm gonna get Ryan to shoot to Perry, and Perry's gonna shoot to Billy. And Billy, the great shooter, he needs to get the ball. None of these guys are getting it to Billy. This is outrageous. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And like trying to say it with anger.
Yeah.
And now you're only instilling that emotion in that fear into your, I was gonna say students, but relatively that's the case.
Yeah.
But your players.
Absolutely.
Now they're having to play off that fear.
Absolutely.
But for you took a very huge human element.
Yeah.
You were like, listen, this is something that's human. You could take this with you off the game. And you didn't do it clearly with the way you're saying it, Ahmad, with like any like sense of fear to stigmatize them with.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely
That's huge.
not.
That's taking something and being able to realize that this is something that you can apply even into the game.
100%.
Right?
100%.
I want to know, when you are communicating with the kids, when do you know it's important to press on the gas and really give it to them when they need it, as far as the training, and obviously when you're like, okay, am I training these guys too hard, or to press on the brakes when you feel like they need a break, especially when you understand, because you work with a lot of these athletes who are wanting to go to abroad. Their parents are saying, listen, I know my son has the skill, we have the money, we want to take him to go pro. When that is in your mind, and I'm sure you've probably already worked with a lot of athletes like this, your son being one of them, knowing they're a kid, but also realizing their potential. How do you coach that type of athlete?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's a great question, because, not every athlete's going to go pro.
Yeah.
Not every athlete. And I'll tell you, there's some athletes that are just tremendously talented, but they don't have the drive. And there's other athletes that have the drive. They just can't give you that. They just can't give you more than what they can give you. If you try to push them to give you more, again, do you go back to the youth part? These are kids, so you have to always go back to the element of the age of these athletes. This is not an adult where they're 19 or 20 years old or 21 years old, where you're pushing them, what they can give you. So really truly learning about the athlete, it's not so much just coaching the game, it's learning about the athlete. So I truly take my time to learn about the kids themselves. I connect with the kids before I connect with the athlete. Mm-hmm. It's really important, because then you truly understand what they can give you. I'll be honest with you, I don't coach all the kids the same. I know what my kid can give me, 100%. And I know what every kid can give me on the team. So I coach these kids based on what they can give me. Don't get me wrong, I push them, but I know how much they can give me. I'm not gonna go and say, on every team, on every successful team, you're gonna have great players, and you're gonna have good players. And you're gonna have like a bell curve, right? I mean, that's life. I mean, they score in university at a bell curve, Yeah,
exactly.
So it's part of life. It's part of your work, When you go to work, they say, a lot of jobs, a lot of companies, they get rid of the 5% at the bottom, and there's a 5% at the top. They get the highest rate, and then there's the bulk of the media employees. Same thing with a team. Honestly, that's a lot of the time, that's how it is. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go expect more than the bottom 5 than I would expect from my top 5. So I'm not going to push them the same.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of, to answer your part 2 question is, there's parents that really want to drive, they want to drive their kids to give you more. But sometimes they have to do their part too.
They have to.
Because you can't expect a kid to go touch a 10-foot rim, if they can't touch a 7-foot rim. Mm-hmm. So there's that element,
Yeah.
If they can't succeed to play for the full 90-minute game, how do you expect them to be successful? So you got to do your part as a parent. If you really truly want them to be professional, you have to do your part at home. That means feeding them right. Make sure they're getting good rest. Make sure that they're ready for the game on time. Bring them. and not on time, ahead of time. So you got to do your part, because it's not the kid's fault that they show up 5 minutes before the game.
The kid's not driving to practice.
or the kid misses practice, you know? And so, and to be honest with you, the reason why success is there, and we took a tier 1 and we won provincials, and we took a tier 1 U11 team, never lost a game, and never lost a game with both teams, and never lost a game with it's because of the standards that we set early on. Is you have to show up to practice, because practice makes you better. You know, you're not gonna get paid if you don't go to your job. So why would you get paid? Why would you get paid with playing time if you don't show up to practice?
Yeah, great point.
You know, so that's where the parents and sometimes that pushes parents away, and that's okay. There's a place for you to play, and there's community. You don't have to show up to soccer practice, and you can still go play the game, and every kid gets playing time.
Totally.
So, yes, and that's the difference between. There's levels, Kenny. There's many levels, you know, and I'm talking like even the level that we're at. There's a greater level than that. Even at a youth age, they show up to all the practices, yet they're not getting playing time because they're not cutting it in practice because the level's so much higher. But those kids, I'm talking Spain, I'm talking Europe. Yeah, you know.
That's first. That becomes the first priority.
I mean, that is, age. You know.
Homework second. I mean, if anything, that gets put off aside because they're breeding these new level of beasts for the future.
They are, man. Like I'm telling you, when we went and played, you know, they took 11 out and put new 11 in against our team. And all 11 can play. And, you know, so, and they only put those new 11 because we were losing. You know, we took a superior squad, international, and we went and played in Spain. And it just puts a perspective on the game itself.
Do you mean, Ahmed, by like new 11 as like a fresh batch?
Yeah, of fresh like batch. Like a completely different team. But the same badge, same jersey, same everything. I have. And yet they destroyed us.
That's equivalent to the Shark Tank in MMA when you have the one guy preparing for a fight and you got a 3-minute round back to back with a fresh new guy.
Yes.
That is not easy in any sport. Clearly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, if the game was probably closer than that, they probably kept the first 11 in that were probably better.
Yeah.
But it shows you the level. Like even here, the level is not there yet. And my passion, my drive, my goal is to drive every kid to be better, but also to take that game to the second level, into the third level, into the fourth level. And that's where we're driving. I really, really want to get there. And I believe I'm on the right path to get there. I truly believe that. And I can't wait. I can't wait to start turning national players, you know. I can't wait to start having, you know, players that played under the Soccer Elite Academy, play for Team Canada. I think, honestly, I can easily turn. Right now, I know there's 5 or 6 players that can definitely play.
Absolutely.
You know.
And that's when you realize it really is, back to your point, about parents being involved, you being on board, the kid being motivated to do it. It's a team effort.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it goes without saying because it is a team sport after all. Now, I want to know if other coaches are listening to this, and I know it's the secret's right in the sauce. It's right in what you're willing to say. Is what are some tactics, coaching tactics you use that make you a winning team, right? Because I'm not saying it's not normal, but let's just say it's worth applauding to when you've taken this many teams to the championship and creating undefeated teams at such a young age. And clearly with just some of the nuggets you've been able to give us so far, Ahmad, and saying like what ends up being even said in the team huddle. I even loved how you said that you coach every single athlete very differently. And that's huge. You can't just treat everyone one and the same. That's 20 or 30 to so kids with very different family upbringings, very different personalities, right? What are some other things you feel like you have done or you do that's just ingrained in your coaching capability that makes you take teams to the championship level?
Honesty. You know, I put players in positions where they're going to be successful. Honesty is a big thing. Honesty with the player, honesty with the parents. You know, you can't let your emotions come into play here, because again, I want to make successful athletes, people, and overall a team. So being honest is one thing that I'm always upfront.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with myself. I'll tell you, my son, my middle son, you know, he's a great player. But he's on a great team. and there's better outfield players than him. So if I put him in an outfield position, he's probably not going to get as much playing time as I would put him in a spot where we have a gap. And he is damn good at it. He's the best keeper on the team, but he's not the best striker on the team.
Yeah. Play to his strengths.
And he's successful, right? And so now he's enjoying it. He's part of success.
Yeah.
And the best way he can be successful to help the team.
Yeah.
So again, every parent wants their kid to play striker and score goals because that's where the glory is. Yeah. They think, but when you dig deep and dive right into the game, and if you truly watch the game that knows so much about the game, it's most of the time it's not the kid that scores the goal that's the best player on the field.
Yeah, the MVP.
It's not. I'll give you a perfect example is Luka Modric. He plays for Croatia. I mean, he won the Ballon d'Or. He scored 7 goals in the whole year, where Ronaldo and Messi scored above 50. Yet this kid won the Ballon d'Or, best player in the world, and didn't even win the World Cup. But yet he was crowned that because he was a phenomenal player. Now, looking at 90% of the population that they don't know football the way the other 10% know, they're saying, why would he win the Ballon d'Or? Different aspects to the game, So as a coach, you got to recognize where your good players are. And your good player, I have a kid that honestly doesn't score very much. He's the best player. Nice. Without him, we'd lose every game.
Wow.
We'd lose every game.
Yeah.
And he's my center back. He's my center back. And I have actually, in fact, 2 players, one on each team that play very, very similar. It's funny, I think that's a coincidence, but they're both super aggressive, super fast, and they shut down teams.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Not just one guy, the whole team.
The whole team. Again, these 2 kids don't score very much. We actually reward them sometimes when we play them up front, when we're winning by a lot, and they score goals. They're very good, but they're amazing at what they do in the center back. And I'll tell you, they're going to be super successful growing up because that is a position that's hard to fill.
Yeah.
And if they learn it now and they continue to develop and sharpen their skills, that's your center back for Team Canada.
Nice.
That could be the 2 center backs for Team Canada right there that I'm grooming right now. Yeah. So, and I mean, I would be very, very proud. I mean, putting these kids in this situation, I'm getting shivers right now talking about it. Take another coach, maybe take this kid, he's fast, let's go throw him up front. Get us a goal. Yeah, you're getting 1 or 2, but you're getting 5 scored on you. So what are you doing? Yeah. Right? So again, being honest with parents, being honest with the kid, and really the confidence, the way I do it, when I communicate it, because I am genuine about it and I want the best for every kid. And they see it in my actions with my son playing in net, and he loves to score goals.
Yeah.
Because every time they score a goal, they get $5. Yeah. So he's like, man, I can't get $5 anymore. Right. But, lots of different examples that I set. I don't coach my kids any different than I coach any other. Actually, in fact, I'm harder on them. Mm-hmm. I have this is provincials. I'll tell you a little story about my kid. Again, we talk about standards, setting the rules, the regulations, and all that in place. Yeah. So the kids get excited. They're in provincials, finals. He's 11 years old. All these kids that are 11 years old, they're excited. They're in provincial finals.
They're pumped.
Right? They're pumped. They're playing a year up. So they're playing kids that are older than them.
Yeah. A whole year at that age feels like a decade.
Huge, yeah. And so they're excited. They get into the locker room. Everyone's there half an hour early, as we expect them to be. So they're supposed to get ready. I go into the locker room. They should be ready to go. 15 minutes. We give them the pep talk. They're on the field 5 minutes prior to the game. Here I am. Go into the locker room. Everyone's ready except my son. Yet he's been in the locker room for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what have you been doing for 15 minutes? You know, just, we're socializing. Great, you can socialize and get ready.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I want you to get ready.
Yeah.
Can you get ready? Right? Because I need to give my pep talk. I need to give my game time plan. I got to give the pep talk, what we're here to do, what our expectations are, because they're high right now. This is the last game of the season, and we need you to be ready at the most important game. So he starts getting ready as I'm giving my talk. He's getting ready. And so I go over the starting lineup, and he's not in it. And he's one of our best players, you know. So
he's intentionally not in it?
He's not in the starting lineup. He was supposed to be, and he's not.
You scratched him out.
Scratched him out. Nice, you know, and I he's not playing.
Yeah.
He's going to get benched. Now, this is provincials final. So what does that send a message to the parents? And the parents know that he's the best player. He scores all the goals. He assists a lot of the goals, right? And I'm not being conceited about it. This is honestly, he's a great player.
Yeah.
But he's not going to play for 15 minutes, Kenny. Because I'm sticking to my rules.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that for next provincial finals, that every kid is ready to play. An hour before the game. Not 15 minutes before the game. And that's how we won provincials this year.
Wow.
You know?
It's discipline. It's a big level of discipline.
And a huge lesson for him.
It's embarrassing for a kid. I think for anybody. You know what I mean?
It
Not
is.
to put a negative connotation around it, but when that gets done, and now you feel like, I didn't just let myself down, I let my team down. Not in a way feeling like, if I'm not on there, we won't win, but he feels it like they're going to be rattled at me because I did something, I didn't follow protocol.
Right.
It's that army approach.
Yes.
You know?
And you know, to be honest, he was hungrier than ever to hit the field.
I bet. Yeah.
We were losing 1-0 in 15 minutes. So there's 10 minutes left in the first half when he came in. And he was like a bulldozer, man.
Yeah, he came with a mission,
Like 3-1
Damn.
by that first half. You know, he didn't score every goal, but he assisted on a couple, and I think he scored one.
I couldn't imagine the outcome of that game,
you know,
if he
and
did
so,
start.
But it was not just a lesson for him. It was a lesson for all the kids.
It is, yeah.
Because I did drive that home in the locker room, and why he didn't play the first 15 minutes. Because they're going to take that and say...
You know what I love about this too, though, is I'm sure other parents were thinking it, maybe other students were. I'll ask it anyway. But I'm sure because he's your son and you're coaching him on a team that you are leading, there's going to be the element of, is parents thinking it, other players thinking it, maybe your son thinking it, is he going to get any special treatment? That took all of that entire questioning completely out the window. But I think also what people will think is, would he have also done that? Let's say now the hard parenting coming into play, would he have done that to any other kid? And I'm wondering if that was someone else, would the same treatment be in play?
You know what? I'm going to answer it very honestly.
Please, yeah. Please.
You know, not that harsh.
Yeah.
Not that harsh. Because, you know, it is provincial finals, and I wouldn't. Not that harsh. Maybe I'd bench him for 5. Skip a shift, and I'd let the parents know. But I'm being very, very honest with you.
I appreciate the honesty.
You know,
I appreciate that.
I am very, very hard on my kids. And I wish, you know, there's some parents that they say, I want you to be harder on my kid. And I am. And when I get that green light, and I am. But in fairness.
Yeah.
In fairness. Because I know what they can give me.
Yes.
Right? But sometimes I am too hard on my kid. But I know what that's going to do for him in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's why other parents want me to be hard on their kids, because I know. But there's, again, Kenny, there's kids that you have to, again, you get to know them, and you have to cater to their emotions.
Yes.
And you know, and I learned something about this one kid that I truly respect. This kid has got God-given talent. Not mentioning names. God-given, plays on my team, part of the elite, part of the Superior Squad. Okay, the levels, you know, part of the club, part of elite, part of Superior Squad. God, natural given talent. His touch is flawless. Kid is amazing. But Sometimes he lacks focus. Sometimes he's very focused, but he just doesn't have that obsession that we're going to probably discuss later.
Yes.
Right? And I learned something about the kid. So I'm trying to drive the best out of him. Like, what does it take for you, because you have that God-given talent, to become the player that you want to become? Passion is just an inner emotion, Kenny. If we don't act on it, it's just passion, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
We live and breathe that on the show.
But that's it. But everyone has a passion to be something.
Big time.
But not everyone is something. So you got to really take that passion and drive it.
Yeah. It's up to you to do something with it.
And that's what I wanted. And so when we went to Spain and he played and he wasn't very successful because the level was very high, Kenny, very, very high. So we had a chat that he was going to change the way he lived life.
Yeah.
And so it was a very bright light.
How old was he, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
But I'm telling you, these kids are a lot more mature.
Yeah, if they're going to Spain for this level of play at that age, you can have that conversation.
Actually, he was 12. Let's just be honest, 12 years old at the time. No, I'm sorry, he was still 11 because he turns 12 in December and we were in Spain in September. So he was still 11 years old. Okay. And so here we are at the airport going back to Canada. This passion and drive is still, the fire is still lit. And yet he goes and he purchases pancakes and a muffin and and I felt so bad. And I said, I thought we were going to start. Because it does. It starts with you eating. If you're going to be a pro, you can't be a pro on the field.
Yeah.
You know that, man. You got to be pro in the way you sleep.
You got to emulate it.
You got to be a pro in the way you eat. You got to be pro in the way you handle yourself on and off the field. Respect.
That to you as a coach was kind of a slap across the face. It was kind of like, what, we just had to talk about this. You were on board.
Yeah. And so I learned something about the kid. He did not want to eat the chips. He did not want to eat the muffin. He really took it to heart. He was crying. He felt angry. Did not want to talk to me. I felt bad.
Oh, is it because you addressed it? And you were like, what are you doing?
Oh, I addressed it. Oh, definitely. Because I know what this kid can give. And I know how good he is. And if he does the things that he's supposed to do and he knows it, this kid could be one of the best midfielders Canada's will see.
Wow.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it was a learning experience for me because now I know how to treat this kid next time this happens in a different manner. Right? So, man, I learned so much more than I teach sometimes.
Yeah, wow.
Through these, because I get, man, all kinds of different athletes with different attitudes.
It's very humbling because it goes back to your point about there's certain pressures you'll give other athletes that you won't to others. There's certain ways you'll address something that's very different from others. Because everyone wants a very different level. Everyone could be on the same team. Sure. One kid or one parent's kid is going to be like, you have to push him hard. That's the only way he's going to flip and do it. It's the only way, Ahmad, please.
Yeah.
You're going to get the other who's like, please, he's sensitive. He's got such a big heart. He's going to take every word you say seriously.
For sure.
And then that's where you kind of realize, like, okay, I got to kind of really think before I speak here.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
When you're talking to the individuals, you're coaching 16 different ways if you got 16 different players.
Yeah.
But when you coach as a team, you're coaching one philosophy.
Definitely.
For sure.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. I appreciate you sharing that story, especially when something like that's not easy sharing when you feel like it's a learning lesson that you had.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Man. It's, there's a lot of stories like that where you learn yourself. Lots.
I want to bring it back a little bit previously from all these championships you won with your team and, share the story of how coaching, Ahmad, to you was always ingrained into your personality.
Sure.
It was obviously from what I read from your biography that we're gonna release with the promotion of this episode. Is still gonna go live for everyone to see when it was released. And you mentioned how when you came to this country from Lebanon, and basketball was, this passion you had to play.
Sure.
You ended up having one of your coaches leaving, and
Yes.
then you became this direct replacement alongside the actual coach.
Yes.
I want to really find out why or how coaching became about as a passion for you. Like, if we go dig deep, and I'm just using that as a reference, we could even just talk about your childhood or even what that looked like, how naturally, I'm guessing, this wasn't something that you necessarily needed to read through 30, 40 How to Coach for Dummies books.
No.
You just kind of had this in you.
Absolutely.
And, where did that come from?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, Kenny, it does. It goes back to all the way to childhood. I remember, playing, I played very high level growing up soccer. That's football, we call it back in Lebanon. That's where I'm from, right? So, growing up in the Civil War was tough. At 11, 12, 13 years old, we played soccer on the street.
Yeah.
We played soccer in not very big spaces, and I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you a story where we would kick the ball, and if it goes out of bounds, we would have to be careful how we get the ball if we don't, making sure we don't get sniped down,
Wow.
There's certain ways that, that we live by, right? And I mean, war was going on at the time. We'd be playing and bombs would start dropping, we'd have to kind of run home and stuff like that. We played in bare feet, we didn't have money to buy shoes. We played on concrete. We played on sand. There was no grass, And so I've always been one to lead because I loved the sport so much, and I wanted to really grow and continue to play and play at a high level. Me being a young kid, I grew up fast. I am the youngest of 8.
No way.
Yeah. And so, but my other brothers and one sister, they're all really close, except me. I'm like 6 years apart.
Yeah.
So I came, I don't know, late or by mistake or whatever. You know what I mean? So I really didn't have a brother to play with. So I was really like a solo kid, I mean, you have your brother, my kids have their brothers, but, and I really was kind of alone. So I really always kind of gathered the kids around and I went and played. I set up a game or whatever because I wanted to improve.
Awesome.
Right? So me growing up, I was groomed for the national team in Lebanon until, okay, that's it. The war is here. We need to make sure you're safe. You're a good kid. You're going to Canada. And here I am in Canada, moving to Fort McMurray, out of all places.
Completely different world.
Completely different world. Nothing but green space, but no one to play with.
Yeah.
And so even when we found a game and adults play with adults, me being 13 years old, man, I was destroying them. I wasn't even a game. Didn't even know how to kick a ball. So it was actually frustrating to play the game by itself. You can't play this game by yourself. You got to be surrounded. The greater the players around you, the better you become.
Yes.
And so,
100%.
so here I am, didn't speak English. I'm here from Lebanon and basketball was there. People played basketball. So here I am playing basketball. If I could go around people with the ball between my feet, going around people with the ball between my hands was easy.
Yeah, that was kind of like a good icebreaker. Done.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I showed up August, 1994. By the time school started, I was speaking English.
Within those 2 months.
That's it. I was able to speak. I learned a lot. I was a great basketball player by that time. I started for the senior team in my grade 9. Because in Fort Mac, it's 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So, and, to go back to your question, where passion started for coaching is in my grade 12 year. So I played, senior team. In grade 11, the coach at the end of the year, my senior coach, was one of my, and that goes back to where my passion from coaching comes from. Because he helped me tremendously through the struggles that I was, because honestly, I was by myself here at 14 years old.
It's tough. It's mentally very tough.
Right. I needed a father figure. My head coach for the high school team was my father figure. He helped me get funds when we traveled out of town to play. Wow. He helped me pass school. In fact, I needed money. I was reffing at one of the games that our school hosted a tournament, and he came into the gym saw me because he was a counselor at the school, saw that I was reffing, knew I had a classroom, came in, and this is like the next weekend we were supposed to travel to play in St. Albert Showcase. He's like, you're supposed to be in class. Yeah. Why are you reffing the game? You're skipping school. I needed money. I said, when did you ever need money and you came to me and I never gave you money or helped you? Or you're not playing in the showcase. And that was the biggest lesson for me. Passionate, love the game. You know, the team depends on me, you know, and it was the biggest lesson for me.
I see where that lesson came from when you gave that to your kid now.
Right? Exactly.
Wow.
And that moment was devastating for me. Devastating. I got pulled out of the game. I wasn't able to ref, put into class, and still punished because I wasn't going to go travel. So until the day of, I cried every day, Kenny, every day, begging. That was my favorite tournament. Coming to Edmonton to go to St. Albert, play in the showcase, my favorite tournament, played against the best of the best. That's all I wanted, man.
Yeah.
Is to showcase my talent against the best of the best.
Mix of challenge and performance, right in one.
And from there, basically, honestly, till the last, I'm talking hour, like 4 a.m., you know, he called my brother and said, okay, you can bring him. And I actually ended up going. And again,
the very morning of. Pretty much.
Morning of. So he left in my grade 11 year at the end of it. So my grade 12th year, they brought in a new gym teacher that knew nothing about basketball. Absolutely zero. And so I ended up taking the role of running the plays, running the drills, going through the tryouts. I was there from day one.
At grade 12, in the team.
Yes.
And not just team captain duties, coach duties while you're playing.
While I was playing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and it was a role that I honestly embraced, you know, and we worked together, you know, because he was obviously an adult, mature. He traveled with us, but he relied on me for information. What do you do? Who do we play? Who do we... You know, and from there, I really I was team captain for a while, but I knew there was something there for me. You know, I didn't think it would honestly take me to put me in this spot right here. You know, being a director to 500-600 kids and you know, coaching 3 teams and coaching an academy of 4 teams and, you know, growing academy into Edmonton and Calgary and taking it international, you know, probably almost 1,000 kids underneath, you know.
It's nuts.
I didn't think it would take me to that level, but here I am, you know, here I am.
What I love about that is this. That was, let's say, years ago, right? It's not like that was yesterday.
Yeah.
But when you just connected the dots like that, it makes me so happy for you and proud, because I compare that to the people that go, oh, son, when I was your age, or when I was in high school, I did this. Oh, okay, Dad, then what happened? What did you do with that? What more happened out of that? Oh, you know what, son, I decided to go work in the rigs, or I decided to go do this, and it just was good money. Met your mom, and you happened, and I just had to look the other way. And then the kid just kind of goes, oh, okay, Dad. But then at that point, and I haven't personally experienced this. I just have other people I know who've really well personally experienced it. Well, I kind of have in a way, because my dad, he had a very bad injury, and that was life-altering for him. It's a whole other story. But it's just your child becomes that much more motivated to chase their dreams and follow their passion when they saw that you did it. When they saw that, hey, Dad, success or failure, he tried, I'm going to try too. I'm going to be willing to give it a go.
That's the idea.
You know?
That's the idea.
That's huge. And I'm sure along the way, we still have to touch upon it, that you're going about life, living, years going by, needing to make money, family happening. But look at how you taking a team where you're 17, 18 years old, and you're coaching and playing, and now you're doing it for thousands of kids. That's amazing, man. I had to acknowledge that.
No, thank you.
That's unreal,
Appreciate
right?
it, man. Appreciate it.
Along the way, I mean, this is what's really neat, because I care a lot about this. Is like, what did you tell yourself, or what needed to happen for you to be like, you know what, that is my passion. It's not going anywhere. I have to make a career out of this. I need to just, I can't look back. It's good. I'm gonna make this happen without any regrets. Because let's be honest, there's the variables of family. There's a variable of being in a new country.
For sure.
There's finances. Like, what kind of what convinced yourself, Ahmad, to do it? And then how did you make that happen? And this is for listeners out there.
Oh, absolutely.
We're so curious. They're like, well, it's just so easy to say you did it, but like, how?
Yeah, the one main drive behind this is, what if I had somebody like me growing up taking me in this direction? Where would I be? At 13, 14 years old, me being groomed to go play for the national team, if I had somebody that coached me and gave me a pathway to where I would go to continue my goal and to continue to drive towards my dream, where would I be? Would I played pro? Would I played pro soccer? I'm not saying I don't love what I did with my life. I went to college. I went and played college sports, very high level. I was a captain of the team, very successful. I got a really great job through sports, and I have a great career with my work. But it was something missing, because I wanted to give kids and youth players something that I never got. Ken, these opportunities didn't happen 20 years ago. They didn't exist. They didn't exist. There was no pathway academies. Kids couldn't go to Europe and play soccer that easily. That's where I come in.
Yeah.
That's my drive. I saw it. My kid is decent. He's a very good player. And other parents start like, we want you to coach, like individually start coaching. I started just from like the coaching. I was coaching always, but the academy thing just kind of grew on its own. I started with like 5, 6 kids.
Yeah.
And it grew to 10 and 12.
And when did the Elite Academy start?
Elite Academy started in 2019, early 2019.
Oh, there you go.
Like really early.
Yeah.
Like not too long ago. And now we're like 400 kids.
That's nuts.
That's
awesome.
400 players between here and Calgary. And we're talking like elites, like the elites of elites. And we played against other academies in the city that have been academies for 10 years. And we're beating them.
That's amazing.
So, and I mean, I'm not saying this is what it's all about, winning or losing, but it shows you that, we're grooming great players, but not just players, hard working. Because I want to tell you one thing we've never mentioned before. One thing that I always tell my kids before every game. Mm-hmm. What do we do with our lives? Everything we use our hands. We pick up a cup using our hands. We drive using our hands. Everything we do, we brush our teeth using. So we do a lot of things using our hands. So it's we don't make mistakes brushing our teeth or picking up a cup unless you're unfocused, right? But we don't do a lot of things with our feet. So I expect you to make mistakes. I mean, I don't go in that detail into the speech, but I expect you to make mistakes. But one mistake I don't expect you to make is working hard. Yeah. No one can make that mistake. It's a choice. It's not a mistake. So I need you to make a choice right now that you're going to work hard for the whole game, not for 95, not for 85 minutes, for a whole 90. If you're playing a 90, or in our cases, sometimes we play 50 minutes, for the whole 50.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I drive that is a choice. It's not a mistake, When you don't make a hard run, it's a choice you made, not a mistake. So that's one thing I really, really drive
I love
home.
that. You get them to understand that. I put myself in that kid's shoes. I'm 25 minutes into the game. I'm probably exhausted, throat's dry, I'm tired, I want to go home, play video games. But then I recall yesterday when, Coach Ahmad gave me that pep talk. He said, listen guys, every minute counts. If you catch yourself for a single minute, losing track, your head's going elsewhere, you're thinking about that fresh Slurpee you're going to sip on when mom and dad pick you up. Don't worry about that, right?
Yeah.
Right now is the game. Focus on that.
Yeah.
This isn't forever.
Yeah, that's right.
Just work hard.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
That's
Just every minute counts.
Because,
and it's so true. It really
100%.
does. Look at buzzer beater moments in sports when that 1 millisecond was a game changer. It was an absolute, like, from zero to hero.
Yeah.
From just being wired in and being like, we're not losing until the final stretch.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to give it all we got. And when you get
100%.
20 kids doing that all at the same time, it's magic.
Oh, it is. It's honestly, it's inspiring to me. You know, I give pep talk every game.
That's awesome.
But it's a pep talk about not just, I don't prep it. It comes natural, Kenny, based on what's happening, based on what I see. And sometimes the best pep talk is let's go and play.
Yes. Oh, I love that you said that.
You know?
Here's the biggest misconception people have. I bet you a lot of kids or parents think it. Maybe they've probably brought it to your attention. Oh, Ahmad, like, little Billy here, how do I motivate him? You know, okay, what are you doing to motivate him more? And I've had that personally experienced through my own personal training clients,
right.
Even through classes I've taught in kickboxing. Everyone sometimes, not everyone, but there'll be time to time someone asks, hey, like, how do I get motivated to like try harder? And I'm like, you know what? Motivation doesn't happen until you take action. Once you take action first, you will become motivated.
100%.
So many people switch that.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
You need to first, like you said, let's get out there. Let's play the damn game.
Yeah.
Let's show up. Goes back to your point. Just show up. Show up 15 minutes early.
100%.
Right? 100%. You do all the steps I tell you. I'm here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll if you need me to baby you and carry you and push you, I will. But once you show up and you're there, by the time you break your first sweat and you pass that ball to Billy, you're motivated.
Yeah.
Because you took action.
That's right. 100%. You know,
Right?
Just get up and make your bed. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Just do that.
But you know what I love about that? I'm telling you, it's funny you mentioned that, Ahmed. I've had 3 people already tell me to read the book. I think it's literally called Get Up and Make Your Bed.
Oh, yeah.
But there's so many tie-ins around the moment you wake up in the morning, when you make your bed, it's not about, oh, keep your room clean, make it tidy. That's half of it. The other half is in the first 5 minutes of your day, you already completed the task.
You're productive. Yep.
Yeah. Then you're just thinking already, okay, what's next?
What's next?
What can I try next?
Absolutely.
But you got something done,
Absolutely.
right?
Look, you hit it spot on, man. You gotta just take action.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, you know, I like to go to the gym, but there's sometimes when I don't want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm tired, you know. I work all day and I go and I train the boys and you know, I don't have time for myself, right? But I really like to, my appearance is important to me. I am very detailed, man. The car I drive is the shoes that I wear. The shirt that I wear has to match the pants. Right. I'm very detailed. I'm very detailed about everything.
Man. I saw those photos, the stunner shades you were wearing and those professional shots. I know you got style.
You know, and so like, so that's part of like, it's the details, right? Yeah. And I tell you that sometimes I don't like to go to the gym. All I say to myself is just get up, get in the car and just go smell the gym.
I love
just smell it. You know, just go smell it. And then once I'm there, Kenny, man, I on those days in particular, I have the best workouts.
I love it.
The best workouts, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
You know what's awesome about that is because you're not telling yourself to get up and go to the gym. You're not saying, I'm going to do a workout. The idea of doing a workout is killer.
Yeah.
You're going, okay, I'm going to get up and go to my car. That's it. I got to get up and go to the car.
That's it.
I got to start it and smell the gym.
That's it. Just to say I did it.
First.
I did it because I've been doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And when I'm, you know, it's again, details, right? Oriented details. I like routine. Mm-hmm. I like routine, you know, because I think routine is very important. I try to give routine. That's why I did these online training, you know, during this pandemic.
Yes.
You know, I did over 100 hours of online training. And I specifically set it for a single time and day, which is every day, because I wanted to give a routine, not just to me, but to all the youth athletes, something to look forward to. that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go shower and I'm going to have supper. And I'm going to get ready before my session. So there goes 4 hours of my time. Now I have a routine as a kid. I have something to look forward to. And that's what just about every parent, send. Hundreds of messages, hundreds of thank you messages. I wasn't doing it for the thank you messages, but that's what they were missing, a routine. And I am very routine oriented and I like that. And so that, if I don't complete that task, it's not good. And that's what I say, just go smell it. It's a task that's completed. And sometimes I get way more out of it.
Well, no, that's what I love about it, because you're also being consciously aware of other people's families' situations.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I mean, I can't imagine back when I grew up with doing Taekwondo, if my sensei went, okay, guys, once a week, I'm just going to give you a pamphlet, and we're going to just change the time every time. Like even in like physical, actual practices, it confuses everyone. Yes. When you have now the kid hardwired, the parents hardwired to be like, hey, listen, you eat your supper. Yeah, COVID or no COVID, I get it. Our life is a little bit unpredictable right now.
Right.
We're sitting on our asses constantly just trying to think of something to do.
Right.
But at least son, that at 6 o'clock, it's game time. You're going to go do your practice while you're home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're still making sure that that's there,
100%.
Even during a time that we've recently just passed and are living in, where it just felt like unprecedented times. And you're not really too sure what to do with your time, especially at that age.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I wanted to touch upon that, because now that we're kind of reopening up the city, practices, I hope, cross my fingers, can start happening in the sports world. Do you think you're going to continue to still do virtual sessions?
So now that things are opening up slowly, I think we're moving away from the online to the public, and we're going into the Zoom sessions. So Zoom sessions would be still virtual, but more, I want to start to see the athletes work, how hard they're working.
Sweet.
I want to be able to see them and to point out some things that they're making, because in the way I was doing it, I just wanted to do it for all the kids, whether they're level 1 or 10. And there was level 1 and level 10 doing these sessions, and all sorts of ages. But I wasn't able to see what they're doing. They were giving me numbers, they were communicating, it was interactive, but I wasn't seeing their work ethic.
The interface was showing you,
right,
and then you were just hoping that they were following.
They're doing it, exactly. Yeah. So we did one on just on yesterday, and it was a great session. I mean, I was able to see some kids that were not doing anything at all, and I was able to talk to them and say, why aren't you doing something?
Good.
And so I think we're gonna move towards that.
Nice.
For sure.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I know hopefully things will open up where we can actually still do the social distancing and have like 16 players and a 10 by 10 grid, and I can be in the middle and just watch them all. So that's another option. Not on a sports field, maybe like in a park.
That's really good.
For sure.
I'm glad. And it seems to me you're taking all the right steps from slowly being able to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Right? And I know a lot of that's out of our control, but it's amazing to see how you're still able to be innovative through the process.
No, absolutely. Right? We are sanctioned under the Alberta Soccer Association. And obviously Alberta Soccer Association is the governing body for soccer here in Alberta, but they're also, they get their information from Canada Soccer Association. And I don't want to do anything that's gonna, go against, what they're saying. So we want to make sure that it's safe for the athletes, and I'm sure they're giving good guidance, for us. Again, my main ultimate goal is to provide Canada soccer with players. That is, I say it with so much pride and passion, and I truly believe that we can house 50, maybe 60% of those players.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. I want to bring to our attention the challenge aspect of coaching. And I know we've already uncovered and dissected a lot today, which is awesome. It's just one of the topics that I know is of interest. I want to see if there is anything that we haven't mentioned yet, just regarding challenges that you face internally or externally through coaching, that might be just an opportunity for you to address to others.
Sure.
Just so parents are aware, other coaches are aware of, you know what, once you get to this rank or this level of coaching this many athletes, you have, sure, this glorious title behind your back, and you definitely have this pressure that comes with it, but there's also this fine line between understanding that it comes with new problems.
Yeah.
Maybe good problems to have, but they're still relatively new. Yeah. And give us allow us to give you the opportunity to express any of these challenges.
Sure, absolutely. I think challenges are great. I mean, without challenges, life would be boring.
Yeah.
If you're not faced with challenges, you're not doing something right. Because you'd be going through the motion. You don't accept challenges. You gotta be challenged, and you gotta challenge others.
Yes.
You hit it spot on, because as you grow and you get better and you have better players, the biggest challenge for me, and I tell you, it's heartbreaking, is tryouts. Tryouts are devastating for me. I don't like tryouts. I love them and I hate them.
Not everyone gets selected.
It's a bittersweet, and I'll explain why. Especially when you win. When you win, people want to be part of a winning team. But when you win, you're gonna get good players come out to try out. And sometimes those good players are better than the players that you have.
Yeah.
So as you recall me saying, I've had kids since they were 5. So a little story about challenge. I'm talking, September of 2019. This is exactly a year from today. I had to make 3 phone calls during tryout. 2 kids I've had since they were 5 years old. I had to call their parents saying, you know what? Your kid's not going to make the team. And this is before I even made the team.
Oh.
Because I knew who was coming out. I knew who came out. And I knew how bad they wanted, and they were better.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
And so that's a huge challenge. But that's a challenge that I find is a great learning as well. I didn't just talk to the parent. I talked to the kid as well.
Wow.
And again, honesty. Because, Kenny, you know what the biggest issue in society today is? We hand everything to our kids on a platter because
we spoon feed them.
Because we have it, it's available. But it's wrong. It's wrong. You gotta make sure that they're getting what they deserve, what they earn. And it was a challenge, but it was also an opportunity for coaching, again, adversity, challenges that come in life. You're not gonna get every job. You are gonna get cut. And if this kid, the 3 kids actually, I know one of them for sure is definitely taking it to heart, and he's working harder than ever. And he was coming out to try out this outdoor season before this whole pandemic happened. The other 2 kids are, believe it or not, they're part of the elite academy. But yet they're not playing on team. Again, it has nothing to do. This is absolutely has nothing to do with money. This is all about learning lessons. And the academy doesn't charge very much, actually. We don't make any. We buy them gear. This is more for the future. Mm-hmm. But the lessons learned, the challenges, talking to the parents, telling them, hey, I'm your friend, and I'm telling you I can't take your kid because I have 16 other players that are better than your kid.
You have to talk to them logistically and be like,
but also it's a learning for them, Kenny. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do to make your kid come back next year and play? Because he's good. He was good for 5 years, but he's not good today because there's somebody else that's better. Go do something about it. I'll help you to do something about it. So there's those challenges, of course, and any coach, they'll tell you the same thing. I mean, this year, I had like 6 parents call me after we won provincials, that's saying they're going to bring their kids. And I know some of these kids are phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal. And now I'm thinking, like, before trials, like, what do we do? What do we do? Who do we cut? Yeah. We have great players. Let's see what happens. Bring them out. Let's see what happens. I might have to make a tough decision. Mm-hmm. So there's that challenge. The other challenge is parents, obviously, dealing with youth. Mama bear, Papa bear always comes out, man, and
They come out with the big guns. They come out with the wallet.
always, and again, honesty is key, and sometimes, my personality is very strong.
Yeah.
So some parents shy away from communicating with me, and that's not a good thing. I really open it up. I communicate, please. If you see something, don't wait 24 hours. Don't wait 24 hours. I don't want that, cool it down. Come talk to me. I'm not going to bite you. Come, let me know your concerns. Because there's some things, Kenny, that I make mistakes at. Sometimes I'm in the heat of the moment. I misplay a kid. I don't play him for a shift or two. Not deliberately, or maybe deliberately, but come tell me.
Yeah. So they can know your logic behind why
and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect scenario where a parent was really upset with me for not playing the kid. But when I called the kid to come on, did not want to play because the pressure was high.
Oh.
He did not know that. So he came, was discussing, and I had to explain to him. He went, asked the kid said, yes, Dad. And that was it. But if you would have went home, slept on it, never heard of it.
Yeah.
These
be a completely different story.
Completely different story, right?
That lesson, that's a really good lesson to learn because it translates so much to even what I've been through, just through job interviewing, right? I know we kind of touched on that earlier, but if I didn't understand now is for the mindset of an athlete that you don't always win and that there's 7 billion other people in this world, the quicker you can learn that at a young age, the quicker you can identify yourself as realizing that you're not the best. I'm not saying that in a cutthroat, you suck, there's someone better than you, but just understanding that you're not the only one chasing that spot, right? You want that position that you feel well qualified for. 100%. Well, guess what? There's another person. There's 20,000, 30,000 other people, God knows, depending on what niche you're in, who are going to want it. And if you don't get it, then accept it. Then be like, yeah, you know what? That's when you as the athlete, and sometimes I love how you mentioned that you go out of your way as the coach. And I find that's a brilliant thing that some people in the human resources world do. Not everyone does it, but I love the ones who emulate what you do and they go, you know what, Kenny, I'm going to tell you what happened. You know what, we loved you. We thought you were great. And this is coming from me where I was at a point, Ahmad, 6 months ago, where I was going through job interview after job interview after job interview after job interview. Didn't get a single one. Did that break me slightly? Absolutely. But I still always, what made me sleep better at night was going, you know what? There's just someone better. But what do I need to do? What is missing? That's when I start, getting certifications. That's when I start cleaning up the resume. That's when I start sharpening my interviewing skills. But if you're not doing any of that, well, hey, 10, 20, 30 more interviews later, it's just going to be the same thing, the same response you get, right? And I love how you kind of as that human resource example, you're going to the kid being, listen, here's who didn't get it, and here's why. But here's what you're really good at. Here's what's missing. Let's just work on that. Let's fill in the gap. Yeah. Come back next year. Let's give it another shot.
Absolutely.
And then when the kid can learn and realize at that young of an age, and they go, oh, okay, it's not me because I suck. It's just there's so many other me's out there. Right? Their worldview changes.
100%.
Right? It's amazing to see how much I could tell how you coach is you look steps and years ahead of realizing, man, I'm going to tell this kid something that I didn't know at their age.
No,
and
exactly.
they're gonna carry this with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that kind of brings everything back.
100%. That's a topic, honestly, you can talk about all day.
Yeah.
All day. I mean, all day, man. But one thing is you gotta keep going. Mm-hmm. There will always be somebody better than you at any given day. Always, So if you think you're the best, and that's one thing that I tell all my players, don't think you got it. Don't think you are it. There's somebody better than you out there, 100%. Somebody better than you. Don't think you got it. And don't practice till you get it right. Don't practice till you get it right. You gotta practice till you can't get it wrong. That's how you become a professional. That's the difference between professionals and amateurs. Amateurs can do it good 10 out of 100 times, but a professional can do it good 95 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
Because they practice till they can't get it wrong. And that's the difference. That's what I'm coaching.
Yeah.
That's elite.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go with the elites. That's why we're pushing them. Every day, Kenny, we push them harder than the day before. Because if we continue to grow at little increments, every single day,
1% a day.
every single day, be better than yesterday. That adds up, man.
Yeah.
And you could be that professional. And you say it, man. There's 7 billion people in the world. And the chance to play pro, yeah, it's very slight, very slim. But you can definitely, if you work hard, you'll get a great education. I guarantee you that. If you take that same work ethic that you put into your youth athleticism, athletic career, and you carry it through and all the things that you learn, I guarantee you, you'll get a great job. You'll get a great career. You'll be a great husband. You'll be a great father.
Yeah.
You'll be a great grandfather. And you will be a very well-respected human being, whether you're a female or a male.
Wow. That's so well said. I agree. I really believe wholeheartedly that you say this to the kids as well, because it just makes me believe that there's a lot of kids, back to your point, who every single player wants to become the next Messi. They want to become, the next David Beckham. They want to be that kid, and not all of them are going to be. And I'm sure you have these conversations
100%.
with them and realize that, guys, no matter what happens, what you're doing here on the field today, and you've even said it through your stories, it goes on and off the field. You're going to take this with you in your education, the way you're wired. And you kind of already answered it. It's kind of, we're coming towards the end here, is that level of obsession an athlete or coach or parent needs to have, on top of how does an athlete know where he fits to begin with, right?
Right.
I just want to be aware that if you've already answered that fully, if there's anything missing, as far as how do you know where you're fitting as an athlete at that age and that level of obsession you need.
Yeah, obsession, I love that word, I tell you, because Kenny, to be professional at anything you do in life, whether it's your job, to be good at it, or, maybe an art, you have to be really obsessed about something. And I tell this to my kids and some of the kids that we're grooming to be, super elites, that we think that they have a chance. If they're not obsessed with the sport, with their passion, and take that passion and take the inner drive and drive it out and be obsessed about it. What is obsession? Obsession is when you live every single moment of your day thinking about the things that you love to do in your mind, playing. Where you don't feel like playing, you're out there playing. That's obsession. When you're at home and you come back and you're exhausted, you pick up your iPad, but you're not playing a video game, you're actually watching. You're educating, you're being a student of the game. When you sit down to eat, you're not eating the fries, you're eating the vegetables. That is obsession. Because you're obsessed about something you truly want to manifest. You will accomplish. If you have an obsession, I'm telling you, any person with an obsession about something can accomplish anything they want in life. Anything. Whatever they put their mind to it, man. You do something long enough, it will manifest for you. I guarantee you that. But not every kid can do that. Not every human being can do that. Because distractions are all around us, man.
Tons.
All around.
Especially in 2020.
Especially
Now.
in 2020. Especially in this century. That we're even in between 2010 to 2020. There's Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, and Facebook, and YouTube, and
Everything to grab your attention anywhere and everywhere.
Online, everywhere, and you gotta be obsessed, man. You gotta go to the field and kick the ball where there's nobody around.
Yeah.
You gotta practice and do the runs when no one's watching.
Mm-hmm.
That's obsession. When you can do that, you'll accomplish anything in life. Whether it's reading books to make you smarter, to become a doctor. Why doctors are so good at what they do? They study for like 9 hours a day. You think that's not an obsession?
Yeah, you can't just do that because
Right.
you're wanting to do it for money. You're doing it, and that's what a lot of doctors realize.
Right.
Is when that makes or breaks them from becoming one.
Yeah.
Going to med school and be like, whoa, I need to enjoy this 10 hours a day to get to this point in 10 years.
100%. I have an obsession, man. I have an obsession with the academy that I'm building. I'm telling you, if I am not working at my job, I'm doing Soccer Elite Academy of some sort.
Your life revolves around it.
That's it. I work. There's a block of time where I work. I focus on that. I have another obsession. Now I'm very good at what I do. Very good at what I do. And I travel all over the world doing what I do for my job. But I have an obsession about this academy as well. And I work 24/7 based on what I do. But honestly, I only have one job. My obsession is not my work.
Yeah.
And it's not a job. It's something that I really, really, really love to do.
Wow.
That's it.
That is awesome. I could just feel it, man. I could feel in this room and in your eyes how much you actually do care about the entire definition of the importance associated with obsession.
Oh, for sure.
Right? That's huge. Like, I'm fired up right now. You make me feel like I want to go for a run right away. Like, just go guns blazing.
Yeah, man. No, for sure.
You said something neat there. So you still are. So to correct me if I'm wrong. Being a director of the soccer academies isn't your full job. You do all of this on top of your career.
Yes, absolutely.
What is that? If you don't mind me asking?
I am in the project world. So I'm actually an instrument engineer and technologist.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and so I started in that. And believe me, just like sports, I just slowly grew from there, man. I went from instrument to start coordinating work to, being a scheduler to project control to being part of the core team of a projects and managing $2 million projects. I've traveled all over the world. I was actually instructor, based on my role. I would go and instruct all over Argentina. I went to Argentina, to China. I went to Houston, Texas. I've been all over, man.
Holy.
Yeah.
See, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that.
No, for sure.
For you to be able to balance and juggle this huge obsession you have with soccer and take it to the level you have now and juggle a job like that and be at very large roles. Amazing, man.
Yeah, man. Amazing. I love what I do, honestly. And, I can't do any of this without the support of obviously my wife.
Yeah.
Because she loves soccer too, man. She truly loves football. Since she was a little kid, she's always watched the World Cup. It's huge in Lebanon, man. Soccer, I mean, people die over soccer.
Yeah.
They really do.
So
it's culture,
ingrained
right?
into the culture.
And without her support, honestly, sometimes she tells me like, I miss soccer. Like that's what she says all the time. She really truly supports that, and without her, man, none of this would be available or happening, because she supports it. She cleans the jerseys. We wash the pennies. She washes the pennies for me, and she does a lot of things, for us.
Takes a team. 100% takes a team. And I 100%. Extremely acknowledge you for being able to give her credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
Right? Because raising the beautiful family that you have cannot be done without the partner in crime, right?
We tell her every day. At the dinner table, we tell her, because sometimes she's fed up with all the boys because they're always fighting and, they come in with dirt and everything else. But she's always, she's always praised, man.
That's awesome.
And, she gets praised quite a bit from all of us, for sure.
I'm going to ask you a question. I ask every single guest this.
Sure.
And I'd be honored to hear your answer.
Sure.
You even mentioned it as far as levels go in life, taking it to the next level. That's what we're all about here, man. We bring on guests to share their aspiring stories of how they've taken their passion project into a profitable career path, into something that they can not only make money off of, but it fuels their obsession.
Yes, 100%.
Right? And I want to know, for everyone listening to this, I'm sure they're curious too, for you, Ahmad, what do you believe it takes anyone to take it to the next level? You see, we bring you on here with open arms on the Second Floor podcast, and I loved having you on here, man.
Man, thank you for having me.
And
absolutely,
I want to know, from your perspective, what do you believe it takes metaphorically for someone to make it to the second floor?
From my perspective, I think hard work is definitely one. Working hard, passion, hard work, obsession. But I think you can't do any of this without a good collaboration, collaborative effort from people, trust and collaborating. You can't go to the next level. People, man, you need people. You need people like Kenny, to bring me on the Second Floor podcast. You need people like, that I collaborate with. I collaborate with a lot of people. We have, an academy in Calgary right now. I have my coaching staff, with the clubs that I coach, the whole staff. Collaborating is such an important thing. That's why we play team sports. So we can be a good teammate, so we can be a good person to each other. I collaborate with a big, huge company that I own the rights for in Canada, which is Superior Squad. Superior Squad is an international soccer platform. Superior Squad Sports Management, SSSM, has about 200 youth players right now signed to their name that are turning professionals. These youth players are worth about $3 million.
Wow.
They're in 10 countries, including Canada, which is us.
Yeah.
They're all over. They're in the US, Australia, China. They're everywhere. Look them up, Superior Squad. SSSM, Superior Squad Sports Management, So I am part of the agency, so that's the whole idea, is we groom them through the elite academy. The best of the best end up playing for Superior Squad. And that's through collaborating, working hard, collaborating. They play for Superior Squad. From there, they go right into the agency once they turn 16.
Damn.
And then we start signing players.
This is that weed out process of understanding that, you want to work with Ahmad. You want to work hard, and I'm your coach. You're on my team, and you do everything. You show up. There's a future for you.
There is.
There's
absolutely.
SSSM.
But you gotta give.
Yeah.
You gotta give.
It's not just gonna be given to you on a silver platter.
No, and you know what? It's merits. That's why there's Superior Squad. So there's the Elite Academy, which is great, and we go hard. But it's gonna get harder and harder as we grow even more. It's gonna be really hard to play for Superior Squad Canada, because that's the team that we travel with. That's the team that's gonna go play in Italy in 2021. And if we win those tournaments, we be playing against the best of the best in Italy in a different tournament, which is invitation only. And we get invited, and we travel for free to these tournaments. But we have to win that one. And we will, and that's our goal. And so I touched on passion, obsession, hard work, but I think there's one thing that for growth, you have to collaborate.
Yes. You
have to collaborate. And I have a great partner, that I work with, the Superior Squad international owner.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. He's very good at what he does. He's in Europe. Nice. So he's got the European market. He's got great connections. He's got the best connection in the world, with the youth academies, with the youth players.
It's fantastic.
So he's all over. He's in Spain, Italy. We communicate every day. We have meetings, and he's just very similar to me, man. Young, energetic, go-getter. He's played professional in his youth career.
Nice. And
he's played professional as an adult. And so, we met before even both academies, were formed. We met, and we briefly discussed this thing, briefly, through my son. He actually, my son was scouted early on at an early age, like 7 years old, and he played for a German club, and then he scouted him. And he went to Spain for the first time ever by himself at 10 years old.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
Happy belated birthday to your son, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. And, so that's how our collaboration ended up happening, and our vision. A vision is something without a timeline. A goal has got a timeline, So we had a vision, and that vision will always be without a timeline, because that vision can grow to be something bigger than I ever anticipated. This is grown to bigger than I've ever anticipated, to be honest with you. And yeah, that, I don't know if that answered your question, but I really think I just want to summarize it again in a short answer to your question. It's definitely hard work, passion, obsession, and collaborating.
It really is.
Collaborating and determined, of course.
If it wasn't any of those things, I swear to God, Ahmed, I was gonna assume that there's probably like 5 other Ahmad Majeds running around who are doing what you're doing right now. Because if you didn't say that there was a business partner doing this with you, I was gonna be like, how are you doing all of this? So good for you, man. That's
Thanks.
incredible.
Thanks.
I just want to say that this was a very insightful conversation. It was not only very impactful for me, I'm sure a lot of people in the soccer community, parents, coaches, athletes are going to gain tremendous value from this, even to learn a little bit more about you personally, right? Because I'm sure, as we kind of talked about today, that coaching hack comes on right away and you're in the zone. And it's very nice to know that you were able to share some vulnerability today in our episode. And I love to bring it back in the beginning when you mentioned how it's our character that drives us to be able to overcome adversity.
For sure.
And the fact that you can get 9-year-old athletes understand that is extremely profound.
Thanks,
right?
Man.
So for anyone, especially our audience or people who are jumping on this, if they want to get to know you and they want to connect with you, how can they do so? Where can they find you to be able to do so?
Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram at Soccer Elite Academy. We have an Instagram page. We're on Facebook as well. And you can also visit our website, at www.soccereliteacademy.ca. You can find us there. My phone number is there. It's open to the public. If you want to give me a call, I'm happy to chat. So
awesome.
I'm available. I'll always answer my phone. I always answer every message that I get. So
the doors are open.
Always. Every single message gets answered. Not one gets ignored.
That's awesome.
Even we get a lot of messages from Africa with kids that have a passion. Honestly, every single one gets answered, and I really give every single opportunity possible. I know they want to come here, they want to be part of this, but I do not leave any rocks unturned, Kenny, because there could be a rock there with a diamond underneath.
Totally. No, it's so true. I know for a fact, Ahmed, for me, when and if I have kids in the near future, and I know you're going to be doing this on another level, when and if they're interested in soccer and I put them through it, I'm taking them to you.
There you go, man.
100%, man. I don't think people even know this, but you and I have been well acquainted with one another through the jiu-jitsu community, sure. and when you and your kids were involved, and I always knew, man, you put your heart on your shoulder and on your sleeve, and you're just an incredible human being, man.
Thank
and
you,
that's
man.
why
So
I'm not surprised at all at the amount of success you're going to gain and the influence you're going to have on thousands of other people, but also just with what you've been able to do now, being featured on global TV, Edmonton, that's huge, man. And you deserve every spotlight you can. I hope after this other podcast in Edmonton, give you a call.
Yeah. I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm honestly, I love to do what I do. I really want to take this opportunity to thank you, Kenny, for having me here, in your studio. This is a lovely studio, by the way. It's been honestly a pleasure talking to you. I don't feel like I'm doing a podcast at all. I feel like I'm just talking to a friend, and just talking about the passion that I have and the passion that I have to give to the kids and to make them a better human being. And honestly, it's just, I want to give more to more kids, and that's what it's all about, paying it forward, because, I did touch on it is because I didn't have the opportunity. So I want to give it. For sure.
Totally, man.
I tell you, my dad wasn't around, when I went bike to practice and bike back. I've never had a parent watch me play any sport, ever. But I never missed a game.
It's amazing, man. It's like you're able to do that for your kids as a coach and as a parent.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure every day is a challenge to separate both, but
absolutely.
I'm sure when that game-winning goal happens or when you guys win and you turn into dad mode, I can't imagine how proud of a father you are for your son in many ways, right?
Yeah,
for all your kids.
I'll tell you one thing, man. I can't wait till the day where he's playing and I'm not coaching. And I'll tell you, for one reason, so I can cheer really hard, man, because he does some incredible things in the game, and I'm coach. Yeah. I'm not even cheering because and there everyone's cheering, but I'm being coach. I'm cheering. I'm happy because the team is doing great, but I'm not cheering because my son is doing great.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait. Maybe one day you and I will be sitting in the Bernabeu watching him.
Done deal, man. You could count on it. I'm gonna make sure that happens. I'm getting tickets to that.
No, you don't have to, man.
Thank you so much,
I'll make
brother.
sure I'll hook you up for the tickets. Or he will.
Yeah, exactly. After I get him on the show.
That's right. Yeah, we'll have to.
Perfect, man. Well, that's a wrap. There
All
it
right,
is.
man.